This is a huge week for soccer in Northern California. First up, we have the John Fisher Derby, where the Oakland Roots will travel to PayPal Park and face off against the San Jose Earthquakes, a game that will see two rival sets of fans unite as one in their disdain for a single individual, John Fisher, of course. Over in Sacramento, Monterey Bay FC squares off against Sac Republic in an all-USL showdown. We get these exciting matchups, these local matchups, all thanks to the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, a competition, by the way, that MLS was desperate to kill off because it does not want its soulless, increasingly corporate clubs facing off against a bunch of beloved sites who are actually a part of their communities. On the field, this is an awesome moment. I'm very excited for these matchups. Off the field, well, it puts the failings of MLS back in the spotlight once more. Northern California is one of the largest and most passionate soccer regions in America, and really this extends down to the San Joaquin Valley and over to Reno. Yet those running the top flight of American soccer could really care less about that. The feeling is becoming more and more mutual, though, thanks in part to the USL. I am Cheyenne Hollis. This is the Touchback. Northern California is rejecting the MLS, and here's why.
Rejected, throwing away.
I'll be frank, the results of these Northern California derbies don't really matter, barring the ghost of Christmas yet to come haunting John Fisher during the Roots trek to PayPal Park, and him having a massive change of heart about his entire miserable life. No one is going to remember these games a few weeks from now. Who are we kidding? There's absolutely no way John Fisher is going anywhere near PayPal Park come Tuesday. I'd actually have a hell of a lot more respect for him if he came out, walked out to the center circle at PayPal Park, gave one of those pageant waves, cut one of those Rick Rude promos where he insults everyone in the crowd, and then slinks over that dumbass bridge to the locker room that subjects players to what is essentially the male equivalent to an upskirt. Don't get me wrong, I'm excited about these games, but what's at stake here is less about soccer and more about the soul of soccer. Two distinct visions of where the sport can go. To understand the relationship between Northern California and MLS as it stands today, we must go back to the preposterous relocation of the San Jose Earthquakes in 2005-2006. We could actually go back further than that. I mean, letting Nike name and brand the MLS team in San Jose when there was a perfectly good name and brand already available, that was a huge fail. Club America almost being allowed to buy the Earthquakes and use them as a quasi minor league side, also a horrible idea. That bad idea was made all the more worse by the fact that Club America was going to change the franchise's name again. We never got final word though if the club name would have been San Jose America or San Jose, America. When AEG did pack up and move the Earthquakes to Houston, it left a bad taste in the mouths of soccer fans in Northern California. The intensity of that bad taste picked up when the Dynamo went on to win back-to-back MLS Cups. Those should have happened in San Jose. Of course, they did not. San Jose did receive an expansion team that would begin play in the 2008 season, and fans were happy again. Happy for the most part. I mean, the one thing MLS was lucky is that there was no alternative at this time to come in and fill what was a huge gap in the market: Bay Area soccer, Northern California soccer not being served. It's obviously a different story today. The somewhat surprising rise of the USL has provided Northern California and most of America with an alternative. This alternative has been made more and more viable by the Earthquakes in their tepid performance of the past decade or so. A fairly sad product and indifferent ownership group has pushed folks, at least outside of San Jose, to local clubs in Sacramento, Oakland, Monterey, and in the past, Reno and Fresno. You see, people in this region actually do want to support the Earthquakes. They want to follow Major League Soccer, yet the San Jose ownership group and those running MLS have shown no desire, no real want to reciprocate those feelings. Fisher has shown time and time again he is going to do the bare ass minimum when it comes to his MLS team. He knows it's going to make money, that enough people in that local community down in San Jose will turn up on a weekly basis to keep things profitable for him. Who needs to be competitive or doing outreach to the bigger, greater Northern California region? It actually kind of baffles me just how few people these days are fans or actually follow the San Jose Earthquakes. That number is also one that continues to dwindle. This is a clear-cut case of sports malpractice. The Quakes could be popular from Salinas and Fresno in the south to Crescent City to the north, and as far east as like Lovelock, Nevada. It's a really open green field he could tap into, and there's been no inclination to do so. The Quakes you could argue the Quakes should be doing local outreach to these communities that make up its territory. Doing things like supporting youth soccer throughout Northern California, having fan clubs, just the basic stuff every other MLS club that covers a larger territory tends to do. Realistically speaking, the Seattle Sounders don't do a lot in Spokane, but they certainly have a presence there. Let's be real here. If you live outside a 15-mile radius of PayPal Park, you're either in the Pacific Ocean or haven't heard much about the earthquake since Pat Onstad was keeping goal. Things may have been different had Sacramento landed the MLS team it had long been promised. That of course didn't happen because apparently Ron Burkle tapped himself out buying Neverland Ranch. That's not even a joke, by the way. For the longest time, MLS was seen as the pinnacle of US club soccer, the place you had to be. But that doesn't necessarily seem like it's the case anymore, and Northern California is proof of that. You can be successful outside of MLS. Maybe ownership won't be as profitable in the USL, maybe you don't get to build a 20,000 seat stadium with an endless array of premium seating, but the league is giving fans something. Soccer in its purest form. You see, soccer should be a sport for everyone that's accessible to all communities. That is why the sport thrives in Europe. Towns all have their local clubs, and successful ones can grow and play alongside the biggest and the best. There are certainly issues with that system, with those pyramids, but even if the playing field does feel tilted in favor of the larger clubs, there's something about it that is fair enough. MLS has kicked everyone off the playing field it doesn't want. It's not even pay to play though. You have to be anointed by the league to get in. Credentials, connections to your community, they're irrelevant as far as MLS is concerned. Ask San Diego Loyal about that. MLS preferred to do business with a scandal-ridden, allegedly tax-dodging foreign businessman over a local group. Checks cash, people bounce. Isn't that right, Don Garber? Anyway, as for soccer in general, well, a meritocracy is very scary to those running Major League Soccer, especially in a place like Northern California where these local clubs are putting the MLS side to shame. Sac Republic routinely draws 10,000 or so folks to a lower level of soccer in a stadium that is next to an abandoned water park, although hopefully that abandoned water park won't be abandoned for much too longer. The Oakland Roots, despite not having a dedicated place to play their games and really their entire existence, are still a draw in that community. Monterey Bay FC has no problems getting 4, 5, 6,000 people to their games. But think about this. These clubs have found a level of success at a lower level that many people didn't think would be possible. Imagine the passion and the excitement these fan bases would have if they had the opportunity to play at the highest level of soccer in America. The sky is the limit. Of course, we all know that door is firmly shut. Even then though, the USL experience is certainly enjoyable, better than the MLS experience found at most, not all, but most stadiums in the country. Sac Republic and Oakland Roots games are a blast, even in their less than stellar stadiums. One day I'll make it down to Monterey, but traffic on weekends is just atrocious, and the thought of a weekday night drive back to Sacramento just doesn't do it for me. I do a weeknight game down in Monterey, but the Palace Flophouse isn't around for me to stay at, so what really is the point? Oh snap, I did it. They said it couldn't be done. They said, Cheyenne, you'll never manage to get a Cannery Row reference into one of your sports videos on YouTube. They were wrong. They can suck on it. I did it. Cannery Row in a sports video. Mission accomplished. Alright, enough of that. Moving on. There isn't anything the MLS does better than the USL apart from having a few big name players. There is a drop in the quality of play, but it's not a huge one. We're not going from the English Premiership to the National League North. Shout out Blythe Spartans and their new manager, Norberto Solano. Back stateside, the MLS Apple Plus paywall is symbolic of a greater paywall the league is placing on soccer in America. Not only is there a distinct lack of accessibility when it comes to MLS, but now there's a distinct lack of visibility even trying to watch the alleged best of the best when it comes to American club soccer. It is easy to watch USL games for the most part, and honestly, going to these games, it's fun, it's cheap, but most importantly, the teams, the USL clubs, they really have this connection with the community. There's a reciprocal relationship with the fans that MLS lost a long time ago. It doesn't matter who wins or loses in the Northern California derbies happening in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, and quite frankly, I've got nothing but love for all the soccer fan bases in the region. What does matter is that soccer is viable. It's even growing outside the greed-driven MLS structure. And the more Don Garber and owners take the sport down that path, the more people like me are going to embrace the alternative in the form of the USL. For the past 10 to 15 years, MLS was seen as the end goal for clubs and cities. Now, I'm not so sure. There's a case to be made for the USL. For supporters of Sac Republic, the Oakland Roots, and Monterey Bay FC, the outlook is this. You get a very local club, it's very easy to follow that club, but you may not sign the best players who happen to be playing club soccer in America. That seems far better than the reality San Jose Earthquakes fans have lived since their new stadium opened. I respect the hell out of Earthquakes fans, especially those who have stuck through the side through thick and thin, but the outlook for those supporters and that fan base is that you're spending a lot of money to follow a club that only cares about getting your money. Oh wait, it's actually worse because now San Jose Earthquakes owner John Fisher is already complaining his 9-year-old MLS stadium is outdated. The audacity of that prick. The USL is far from perfect. It has its shortcomings, and it may never be more than what it is today. But for soccer fans in Northern California, it's arguably better than what the MLS is offering at the moment. John Steinbeck, Rick Rude, Blythe Spartans, I don't know why anyone watches these videos, but thank you for tuning into this one. If you'd like to know more about how the San Jose Earthquakes are a case study on why the Oakland A's should move down to Las Vegas, video upper right hand corner of your screen, and to find out why I am completely against this new asinine Champions League format, video lower right hand corner. Until next time, I'm Shine Hollis, this is The Touchback, and as always, hashtag take it out to the 25.